Hello, Antichrist Magazine. We are Earth's Yellow Sun.
Hello,
Oh,
Hello, I'm Josh. I play guitar.
I'm Julian. I play the drums.
Duncan, and play the bass.
Brian, I play saxophone.
We are actually two-thirds of Earth's Yellow Sun. We got Chris on keys and Murray on alto sax, who aren't here right now. So you got two-thirds of the band. Yeah, we're an instrumental prog metal band from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And the band is named after like a Superman reference because Superman got his power from Earth's yellow sun. We're celebrating right now the fifth anniversary of our second EP, The Infernal Machine. Pretty exciting. It came out in August of 2015 when we were young and bright eyed and bushy tailed. So the album is about artificial intelligence and like a giant robot taking over the world and screwing up humanity and all of civilization. And when we were writing it and like it was being like kind of day to day produced by myself and Chris, our keyboard player, our now keyboard player, and we always like the whole thing was like storyboarded in our heads. We had like each panel kind of like visualized as we were writing the riffs and arranging everything. So we always wanted to have this thing actually be made into a real comic book for like a more video content, and it'd be really cool to project that live one day when we can play shows again, whenever that happens. So we've been slowly working away with a couple local artists to make it done for the fifth anniversary. Dave Franciosa did all of the comic book artwork. Paul Maxwell did all the animation for us, and Mike Kungle, who is an artist from California, I want to say, did the cover art, and he does a bunch of stuff with Disney and has done like Star Wars stuff and all kinds of great stuff. So Google Mike Kungle and check out his work.
In this day and age, probably not super important. We definitely have some friends in independent bands who are doing quite well. I mean, labels certainly help with distribution and promotion and that sort of thing, but of course, it's generally money that's loaned to you that you have to repay at some point, and that's why a lot of bands end up, taking these advances and ending up broke coming out the other side. Um, so do we think it's super important? I don't think it's super important. I mean, the we're certainly not seeking out label attention. It's one of those things where I think if they think you're ready, they come find you. We're not gonna go find them, sort of thing. But we've done all right for ourselves so far. Played a couple big shows, opening for bigger bands, and really we just have to put out more music
Yeah,
anyway.
label would be nice for like making connections, throwing some money behind like promotion and marketing, but like the weird art music that we make, like it's not exactly meant for mass marketing and radio hit singles and stuff like that.
Not a
So
ton of money in prog rock.
yeah,
Uh,
I mean,
I
there's
mean,
definitely labels that would make sense for us to be on. That would be cool, but we're not.
Three
That's
Dot
not
Records, where are
outside us.
you at?
Yeah,
Come get us, Three Dot.
this band was not gigging when coronavirus hit. We're just kind of in writing mode, and we've been pretty productive, moving some songs along, as well as obviously releasing the comic book. But we definitely had gigs with other bands and other parts of our musical careers. We all play music in a bunch of different outlets, and we had all lost a bunch of gigs. And yeah, it hasn't been easy. A lot of the venues that we play at, both with this band and with other bands, have been closing. So even as like at least here in Ontario, we're like at the next stage of reopening, and some things are going back to normal. I don't know. The music scene here in Toronto is not going to be. You can't just flick a switch and turn it back on. Like a lot of those venues are gone for good, and people that used to work full time in like promotion or booking or what have you at venues even, they've had to move on and find new jobs. So we'll see what comes next. But the live music scene is definitely not as strong as it could be. I mean, touring with Protest the Hero was pretty epic.
That was great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
The
I
BT
can't-
Bam show.
The BT, yeah. So we opened for Between the Buried and Me and Intronaut and Enslaved in I want to say October.
December
Was it December?
2015. Yeah.
Okay, December 2015. It was like we hadn't even played 10 shows at that point, and it's like one of the bigger venues in Toronto, Danforth Music Hall. So that was like really lucky. That shout out to Noel Peters for grabbing us onto that show.
What was Intervals was fun. We didn't have the full band for that one, but
Oh,
Yeah.
that was interesting. So at the time, our band was, I guess we had just gone down to 6 members. One of our saxophone players had just left.
day of the BT Bam show, we had just lost a member.
True.
Yeah.
So yeah, back in the day, back in our early days, we had a second guitarist. So we
And
had
Barry played.
and a Barry player. So we were
Barry
at one
sucks.
point an eight person band, but then our second guitarist quit the band the morning of the Between the Buried and Me show. We already knew that he wasn't going to be able to make the show, so we had been kind of scrambling to rearrange parts, and Josh was learning a whole bunch of new guitar parts for that show. But then that morning he showed up to our rehearsal, quit and left. So that was fun. And then the interval show, yeah, one of our saxophone players had just left the band as well. So our saxophone section at that point was just gone down to 2 members. But half of our band was unable to make the date for the interval show. So it was just Josh Duncan and myself who were available. And so we recruited one saxophone player and basically rearranged as much music as we could so that it could be covered by, like, all melodies covered by one saxophone.
Shout out to Shanna Hanko for picking that up on a moment's notice and killing it.
Yeah, one rehearsal and we threw her into the fire.
Opening for Intervals and Pliny. That was an awesome night.
Save us from the Archon, R.I.P.
Right.
Yeah.
Do any of you guys...
We had to rearrange everything. I had to play some keyboard parts.
Oh, yeah. With like delay pedals and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I did also have to do that for the BT Bam show. Yeah, it was weird.
Do you guys have any epic fail moments or any fail moments on stage? I can't think of any.
Yeah, well, like definitely near train wrecks. So with our live setup, I'm the only one who has click, and it's often has to be super loud in order to drown out the band. So I don't have a proper monitor setup. I just have click and nothing else coming through the headphones. So there's been some times when I've gone off the click, but the problem is that the rest of the band can't really. They don't know that unless because they can't hear the click. So I have to, unless they can hear the backing track, at which point there's still not much they can do to adjust. If I'm off it, I have to figure out how to get back on it. And
you got to solve it yourself internally and hope that we realize what's going on.
I think I remember, was that at...
that happened a couple of times. That happened at the...
I remember one particular time where it was when we were an 8-piece or 7-piece, so Savick was there.
Yeah.
And it was at what used to be Rancho Relaxo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just turning around being like...
That was opening for Red Handed Denial, I think.
Yeah, that was the first time you played with them. Or one of the first time.
I think what had happened was, I remember it was in part 2 of the Infernal Machine. And so the thing is, too, with this, like, it's one 23-minute backing track. So there's no, like, starting and stopping safety points. So it's got to figure out how to get back on. I think I had dropped a stick, and in reaching for a new stick, I think I dropped a beat or added a beat. But someone in the band, like, my bandmates were turning around. They knew that something was off, but I couldn't hear them to get back on. So I was just playing, like, ambiguous time until
I remember that.
Until the backing track kicked back in, and I was like, "Oh, there it is. Okay."
Yeah. Is that coming out of the drum solo in part 5?
No, this time that has happened before too. That was
like a similar thing where you would have dropped the
Tooth show.
Right.
I got off the click there, and we had to make some adjustments in the after that drum section. So those are the two that I can think of. I think it may have happened one other time.
We definitely like live dangerously with that click track. When we come back to playing live, whenever that happens, we'll hopefully have a little bit more of a robust setup.
One thing particular for me, twice. One time we were on the road. We went east. We were in Montreal. We were doing some other stuff, but I think I broke all of my reeds, and like I had to go buy reeds, which the guy was charging a ridiculous amount per reed because he only had singles, and I broke all of those on the gig as well. And at one point, I was just playing on broken reeds, and there's an art form to learning how to play on a broken reed and choosing which one's stiff enough for which tune. But I remember specifically here in Toronto, we played the Hard Luck, and what's it called? Sean set everything up properly. Everything was great. But me, Josh, were next to each other, headbanging. And I think it was part 4 of Kim. And
there ain't no headbanging in that section.
It wasn't part 4, part 3, sorry. There was someone, I don't know who it was, had stomped on my XLR cable.
That sounds like something I would do.
From my pack that's hanging off my belt. And all you heard was, if I moved a little bit, it was just crank throughout the whole PA. So I'm trying to balance myself, play, and also hold it with one hand, which I don't know how I did it, but we finished the set.
Making it happen. A recent progressive album that impressed you a lot. I think the first one we have to shout out is the new Protest the Hero record, Palimpsest.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So good. And also we were lucky enough to work on that record, me and Julian. I did the guitar teching for those guys. I've been fixing their guitars for a while, so got a label credit or an album credit on that. And Jules, you transcribed it, right?
Yeah, so I didn't directly contribute to the album, but I got a shout out in the liner notes because I've been working for Sheet Happens Publishing for about 5 years. So when their drum transcription book from that album comes out, that was me transcribing it.
Yeah, that's such a good album though. Like apart from the fact that we are involved in some small way, like the lyrics and the vocal performance, man, Rhodey killed it so hard. I love that album.
Yeah.
That's like probably my biggest album of 2020 right now in the prog scene. I really like the new Caligula's Horse.
Yeah, that would be one of my top choices right now.
And Moontooth's acoustic record that they just put out, their acoustic EP, The Violent Verses or Violent Grief, I think it's called. It's awesome. Those guys are so good, and the acoustic versions of the tunes are so good. So, yeah, check out our homies.
I don't know if it's too late to say, but that Tool album was real good. That was a year ago.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the way time's moving with COVID, it feels like it just came out.
It feels like a decade ago to me.
Yeah, to me, it's the opposite. It feels like it's been out a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that and Empath by Devin Townsend, like, you know, they're pretty great, but they're also like a year old at this point. But.
Yeah. What? Any others?
Pyramid Theorem.
Pyramid Theorem, yes, they just came out with their newest album, produced by Rich Chicky, who's like a legend producer in prog music for anyone that doesn't know. And the album is called Beyond the Exosphere, and it's so good. And we toured with those guys; they're good buddies too. Perfect blend of like old school and new school prog, and like they nailed it on it for sure.
So great.
Yeah. I mean, not super prog, I guess, but I know Duncan and I have been into the latest Dance Gavin Dance album as well.
Oh, baby.
Love them. Love
so
those
great.
Guys.
Well, winter is coming, as they say in Game of Thrones, and it's going to get really cold in Canada, and I'm not going to want to go outside. So we're going to try and kick the can down the road on this new album and get some pre-pro demos and maybe even begin recording the real songs. So there will be new original music coming from Earth's Yellow Sun soon.
2021?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
good amount of stuff that we have ready to like to
Well, I wouldn't say ready.
It's somewhere.
We have 8 or 9 songs that are in various stages of completion, from almost done to still very much a handful of riffs, but there's cool stuff there once we sort it out. I think we're looking to put out an EP of 5 or 6, depending on whether or not we end up choosing a concept. We're kind of flirting with that idea a little bit right now. But yeah, definitely some are quite far along, and we're getting close.
Yeah, we're stoked on it. Hopefully we get to release something soon, because obviously the future is going to be about releasing content, not playing live shows. So that's going to be the priority. And as soon as we finish releasing these videos, that's the next thing on the list. Shall we call it there?
Sure.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We are Earth Yellow Sun. Check out the Infernal Machine. Go to our Bandcamp, iTunes, Google Play,
YouTube. Check out
Spotify,
this
YouTube.
Check out our sweet videos that we're putting out right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Give us a like on Facebook, Instagram, Earth Yellow Sun Band. Yeah.
That's pretty much it.